What's up, everybody? My name is Tucker. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Miami Heat. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Check out my socials in the description as well. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Miami was one of those teams in the offseason, kind of similar to the Chicago Bulls, that made a lot of moves and created a lot of interest around their team. Of course, bringing in Kyle Lowry, moving Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic. And this is a team that has had a weird last two seasons, making the finals in the bubble, having a pretty good chance of winning the title that year. Keep in mind that Dragic got hurt basically right as the finals started, and that really caused them some issues in the postseason. Losing in 6 games to the Lakers certainly was not a bad outcome of that season at all. But then last season, I should say, just did not go according to plan. They never really got into a rhythm. They never really found that magic that they had in the bubble in 2020. And so in the offseason, when they made moves like getting Kyle Lowry and they shifted this roster around a little bit, there was some excitement, but I think there was a lot of skepticism as well, where people just kind of assumed that the Heat had their moment, and with this core at least, that was as good as it was going to get. But to begin this season, they've been fantastic. And my evaluation of this Heat roster coming into the year was, I didn't know what they were going to be in the regular season, given their age, given how old Lowry and Butler are. Given just a lot of different factors, I didn't see them as a top 3, top 4 team in the Eastern Conference in the regular season. However, in the postseason, similarly to that run that they made in the bubble as a 5 seed, they would be a difficult matchup because then they could unleash the entirety of their roster that they were probably saving for the most part just to make sure that they were healthy by the time the postseason rolled around. And I just did not expect them to take the regular season all that seriously, but as I said, so far they have been amazing. The Butler-Lowry fit has been really, really cool. They're good buddies. It seemed like their games would fit well together, but it depended on the shot making and the how the perimeter creation was divvied up. They've been awesome. Bam Adebayo continues to be potentially one of the better draft picks of the last decade or so in the NBA as a late lottery pick. And when he was drafted, it was, this guy is going to be an energy guy. He's going to be really good defensively. Offensively, though, it's going to take a while for anything significant to happen. He's an awesome passer. He finishes well at the rim. He has, grown his mid-range game as well to be a little bit more of an isolation scorer. And defensively is probably one of the top 5 defenders in the entire league in terms of what he can do versatility-wise, guarding everybody, defending the rim, the activity level. He's amazing. And Tyler Herro, by the way, who was I wouldn't say one of the main reasons, but a relatively big reason why their season did not go as well last year as they would have hoped. He was amazing in the bubble as a rookie. And kind of that attention and the expectations for him were way, way different last year than they were when he was a rookie. And he quite simply did not meet those expectations. He did not shoot the ball well. It didn't really look like he grew as a player. But this year so far, he's been like record-breaking in terms of his production off the bench, and I think they've found the proper role for him, where they tinkered with that at times last year, trying to figure out what his role should be. Dragic was really like the 6th-man guy for them for those previous 2 seasons, but this year, Tyler Herro has become that guy. He comes in, he runs the second unit, he creates, he makes shots, he works well with either Lowry or Butler or Duncan Robinson or Bam, whatever the combination of those 5 guys are, it's going to look good for Miami, and that's really the core of their team. We haven't talked a ton about Duncan Robinson to this point in the video because despite an awesome start for Miami against what has been a tough schedule, Duncan Robinson has not played very well, and they have still been a very productive team. They've been incredibly efficient on both ends of the floor, and so that provides them even more of a potential ceiling here if Duncan Robinson can start shooting the basketball better, because as a team, statistically, they're very, very impressive. They play at one of the slowest paces in the entire league. However, efficiency is the name of the game. They're top 5 in both offensive as well as defensive rating. They're shooting the ball extremely well. They're getting good shots. They're guarding. They don't give up second chance points as the best rebounding team in the entire league, and they have a formula that clearly already works. They have a great coach in Eric Spoelstra, a top 4 and 5 guys that really work well together, and I could not be more impressed so far this season of Miami than I have been so far. And the last piece of this puzzle in terms of why things have been going well for them is the schedule, because there are teams. I talked about Chicago a handful of games into the year and how their record seemed like a little bit of fool's gold at the time because of the teams they were playing. This is all legit for Miami. They've beaten the Nets, Bucks, Mavs, Grizzlies, Jazz. Like, they're not playing the Pistons every other night. These are legit big-time NBA wins. And to not only play those teams and beat them, but to play as well as they have and to have the numbers statistically as a team that they have really, really illustrates how good of a start this has been for Miami. Now we got to talk about some of the things that do concern me, though, moving forward. They are by no means a perfect basketball team. depth is going to continue to be a concern for me for this group for the entirety of the season. They will more than likely be getting some buyout guys at some point in the year that will hopefully help their depth. But apart from those 5 guys that I mentioned, meaning Bam, Butler, Lowry, Robinson, and Herro, and assuming that Tyler Herro is going to continue to come off the bench, which he should because he's been awesome in that role, one of these players has to start for Miami to keep Tyler Herro on the bench. Markieff Morris, Max Strus, Dwayne Dedmon, PJ Tucker, guys like this are what they're looking at for their depth outside of their top 4 and 5 guys. And specifically, my concern here lies on the wing defensively. In the postseason, they'll likely be able to figure it out, similar to how they did in the bubble with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, and now Kyle Lowry as well. Those guys guarding incredibly well and putting a lot on them defensively was one of the big reasons why they played so well in the bubble. But during the regular season, you'd rather not ask guys like that to take on huge amount of defensive responsibility. So they're asking Markieff Morris and PJ Tucker and guys like that to be their best wing defenders, which is a dangerous proposition throughout the entire regular season. You can get by and get away with it for, the regular season. That's totally fine. But there are going to be nights where it's going to cause a problem and they're going to lose games because they don't have the depth that you'd like to see on the wings. But ultimately, that's kind of where my concerns stop for Miami. Assuming that they're shooting the basketball well and they're guarding well, it really is just a bit of a depth issue and a bit of a perimeter defender issue. And apart from that, it's not that big a deal. And again, once we get to the postseason, you'd rather not ask Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, guys like that to take on a huge amount of responsibility on ball defensively, but maybe with the way this roster is constructed, they can do that. They can ask Jimmy Butler to be their primary perimeter defender. They can ask Bam Adebayo to guard guys like Giannis for the entire game because now they have someone like Kyle Lowry that can create, and they have someone like Tyler Herro that's the best bench player in the league so far, and then those guys can carry you offensively, and you start to see how the roster really, really fits well together here in Miami. This is a formula that I think can potentially make this team a contending team this year. I don't think that there's anything that Miami could have done at this point in the season that would have changed our minds more about them actually being a true contender so far this year. Through 10 games, they've arguably been the most impressive team in the entire league, and especially relative to the expectations that I had for them in the regular season. And it's an infrastructure that we kind of know works. We've seen this happen before. We've seen Miami, granted in the bubble, which was a different circumstance. We've seen a Jimmy Butler-led team with shooters and some spacing and Bam Adebayo make it to the finals and be a true threat in the Eastern Conference. And I'd be lying if I said that after watching them play the Nets and having watched this team play most of the year, this is a team that definitely scares me. I'd be lying if I said that they weren't. So I would take them seriously right now with the one huge, gigantic caveat being age and injury concerns. Not only are Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry guys that are in their 30s, but they have taken a lot of punishment, played a lot of minutes throughout their careers, and it's going to be a tightrope for the entire season, hoping that neither of those guys gets injured. Because as good as Tyler Herro has been, and as much as Duncan Robinson, I'm sure will turn his performance around, as good as Bam Adebayo is, the Heat are only going to go as far as primarily Jimmy Butler goes, and then of course Kyle Lowry there along with him as well. And there's probably not a single other team in the league that is relying as heavily on older guys that have a lot of miles on them that actually want to be a true contender than the Miami Heat. So that is going to be a constant storyline. It's not uncommon for Jimmy Butler to miss a couple weeks at a time in a given season. Kyle Lowry, same thing. As long as those guys are healthy, they're legit, they're scary, they're a team to keep an eye on. But that is the huge sticking point here for Miami is health, along with perimeter defense, things like that. But they have been awesome. Just turn on a Heat game and you'll see a team that wins possession by possession. It's not flashy, it's nothing crazy, but they guard well, they get good shots on every single possession, and that's just how they win basketball games. They're just better than you from one possession to the next. They play at a slow pace, and they know what they're doing. They are a very, very confident team when it comes to being able to play at the highest level possible when it truly, truly matters, and that makes them a very, very scary Eastern Conference contender. I know you guys have been asking me for a Heat video, and there it was. There's every single video, there's someone asking, oh, what about the Heat? I wanted to make sure I talked about them today to kind of start the week off. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Once again, my name is Tucker, and check out more videos from me. The box is on screen as well. And yeah, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Monday. Hope it's a great start to your week, and I will see you all next time.